Everyone, welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast. I'm not Dump.
And I'm not Chase.
And this is what you might call a mobile episode. So, sometimes we run out of filming locations. And then sometimes I get a brainwave. And so we decided, you know what? Let's do a little bit of driving around and pop some mics on. And let's talk about some first round matchups.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that works for you?
Yep.
Perfect.
Talk about how you said sometimes you have a brainwave?
Yeah, that's not often. Infrequently, we'll put it that way. It does happen. Also, my apologies if the camera slides around. That might happen.
Just think of it as a roller coaster ride.
That's right.
We're adding extra entertainment to your experience.
I just saw two dudes riding in a truck with a bench front seat, and the other dude was sitting right in the middle. So, do with that information what you will. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so this episode will be coming out very shortly after recording. We do have a couple other episodes in the queue, including one Ovechkin episode. Please stay tuned for those. But this one being the playoffs, we're going to get her out the door rather quickly.
We are already 2 games into some of these
That's right.
playoff series.
So, in fact, I hope that you will be seeing this the day that we record this.
Wow.
Yeah, which also happens to be my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay, do you think Tim Hortons will give me a free drink?
I don't know. We could try.
Okay, it's worth a shot. Anyway, let's get this episode underway. What do we have for this episode, Ben?
This episode we've got who's in and who's out of the playoffs this year.
Yes.
Different interesting tidbits. We've got some predictions about
the first
how
round
these
matchups.
First round matchups are going to turn out. Some more facts about each of these matchups. A little bit of news stuff, and then a few fun jerseys and names, trivia and facts right at the end of the episode.
You betcha.
So it should be a good one.
Awesome. Well, which one? What do we want to talk about first? I don't have any notes in front of me because I'm driving, so this is all you, champ.
AHL.
Ooh,
We don't talk about the AHL very often.
No, we don't.
You know about the Bridgeport Islanders?
I know the name.
Take a wild stab in the dark at which AHL team they are.
New York Rangers.
Surprise, you're right. Not actually.
No.
Islanders.
It's the New York Islanders. Of course it is.
They set a record this year.
Yeah.
Not the record you want.
Not a good record?
No, not a good record. They set the record for the fewest home wins in a single AHL season. How many do you think they had?
20.
Wrong.
Uh-oh. It could be like 12.
Nope.
What is it?
4.
4.
They have 4 home wins in a full AHL season.
Goodness gracious. How can you lose that many? Well, how many home games? Like in the AHL, they play like 70 some games
Here,
a season,
I'll look
correct?
how many games they play.
I'm pretty sure it's like 71 or 2. So it's like only a handful less than the NHL. That's terrible. 4 home game wins. I wonder if everyone just stopped buying home game tickets at that point. They're like, you know what? They're just going to lose. Forget it.
No one actually showed up.
Season ticket holders would be ticked. I know I would be.
Yeah, I would be too. There are 36 home games in a season. 72 games in an AHL season. So that gives
72?
you... Yeah, so
Okay,
assuming it's half, it's 36 in a season.
I assume it would be half.
Which means they won 11%. 11.1 repeating percent.
11.1 repeat. Nice.
Of their home games.
So if you
and
went...
It's awful.
If you went to a home game of theirs, there was a less than 1 in 10. No, your odds were about 1 in 10
that
they would actually win. So you just don't go. Just save your money.
Sucks.
Save your money, don't go.
Yeah.
Yikes.
RIP Islanders fans, and I'm not talking about the New York Islanders.
The Bridgeport. Well, I mean, the NHL fans too. RIP them, I guess. But that's thank you for holding the camera there.
Whee!
We're gonna go across some tracks, and we don't want you guys to go flying. Okay, so that's brutal. What else do you have for us?
Also, a few players retired. Alec Martinez and Patrick Maroon. We already talked about Patrick Maroon a few episodes.
Yes, we did. That may have been in the episode you guys haven't seen.
Yeah, so surprise, Maroon's retiring. Both of them playing for the Blackhawks. Both had good careers. We talked about this in that Maroon episode. It's kind of making it start to feel like we're getting old a little bit.
Oh, I would say so.
These are our childhood players.
Yep.
But even more so, Like, way more. Like, Martinez, great. He scored that cup-winning goal for the Kings back in...
Yes, he did. 2012?
It was 12 or 14. I can't remember which one.
14.
They won in 12 and 14. I can't remember which one.
One
he
of
scored
them.
It in. Overtime game winner in the finals.
Yep.
For the cup. Both have won 3 Stanley Cups. Another player retired, though, who never did win a cup, and makes me feel even more old. Logan Couture has retired.
Oh, yikes.
And I was
Makes you
like,
feel old?
it's for injury-related reasons. He's had bad injuries, so I'm like, oh, he's probably like 29, 30, just had to retire. He's like 36.
Yikes.
I remember when he came into the league as a young guy.
Yeah, I do
What
too.
the heck?
Yeah, yikes.
So sad.
Well, we're doing the Canadian thing and we're pulling through the Timmy's drive-thru right now, so bear with me as I order. I don't know if they'll be right with me right away, but we're gonna get some coffee to fuel up the morning.
Well, I'm not gonna get some coffee.
No, that's true. Yeah. What do you want?
Blackberry yuzu.
Oh, really? Iced drink in the morning? Okay, sure.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
What size?
This medium.
Good morning. May I get your order?
Good morning. Could I get a medium blackberry quencher, please?
Absolutely. There we go.
Awesome. And could I get a large French vanilla half coffee, please?
And man, and if I push the right buttons, I can say yes.
Perfect.
There we go. That's everything.
You betcha.
Okay. You have a great day, dear.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys. That lady is literally my favorite.
She is
often runs
legendary.
the speaker, and she's just so enthusiastic. I hope you heard that.
She loves her job, and she just works at Tim's. I've got it. It's your birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's tap.
Morning. Thank you. Awesome. Take care. All right. Yeah, no, she's literally the most enthusiastic Tim Hortons worker I've ever met. Well, I don't think I actually have never met her. She's only ever running the speaker. I don't even know what she looks like. But she's awesome. We love
She's
her.
incredible. My brother once said that he went in to give her like $150 as a gift.
Really?
For being just an amazing person. And
Aw.
he went in, and they're like, sorry, we can't take personal gifts. So he put it in an envelope, found out her name, and then was like, oh, I just have something to drop off for so-and-so. And then they gave it to her.
That's awesome.
Or something like that. I can't
love
remember
that.
exactly how it went. But
love that.
She earns it. She does. She does the work.
She
Makes
absolutely
me smile
does.
every time.
Oh yeah, like cracking jokes. It's the best. So if you ever need just like the best Tim Hortons worker, come to Didsbury, Alberta.
Oh yeah.
It's worth it. Okay, where were we? Couture retiring.
Couture, yes. Unfortunate. I don't think
Yes.
there's anything else to say there unless you have something to say.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad. Sharks legend.
Yep.
That's about all there is to say.
Have you ever heard of Voronkov?
Who?
That's a no. He's
No.
a rookie player for the Blue Jackets. I can't even remember his first name on the top of my...
Voronkov. Dmitry Voronkov.
Yep. I might be pronouncing it
Certainly
slightly wrong. Rookie or young player for sure for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Okay.
Right at the end of the regular season. I tried to not put too much regular season news in here, but
Yeah.
this was worth it.
Oh, I think there's a sneaky
hilarious.
cop hiding out over there.
Ooh.
Good for him. Good thing I'm not.
Our second guest on the podcast.
No, I've already had him as a guest at my window enough times.
So anyways,
Yep.
this was worth
Voronkov.
it, even though it's regular season news. He got
Okay.
a game misconduct right at the end of the season.
Okay, what for?
I can't remember. It does not matter.
Okay.
Point is, he got kicked out of the game. Have you ever ever wondered what happens when a player gets kicked out of the game and then doesn't leave?
No, I've never wondered that.
Well, he
But
got
I
kicked
feel like
out.
I'm about to find out.
He got kicked out of the game. Promptly sat back down on the bench, and the referees did not notice, and he continued playing.
Oh my word.
And I don't know how long it was, but he got like, I don't know if it was multiple shifts or just a decent amount of a shift. And all of a sudden the refs blow the whistle and they're like, excuse me, sir, what are you doing on the ice? And
You have a misconduct.
They ejected him from the game, obviously.
Yes.
And then the Blue Jackets got a penalty I've never seen in NHL level hockey. They got a penalty for ineligible player. which I have seen in minor hockey.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I've never seen that in NHL hockey.
That's too funny.
Yeah, because he was out of the game and he was still playing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he had an impact on the game or anything that way. Like, imagine if he scored, but they didn't notice till like later, or had a primary assist on a goal, and they didn't realize until like a few minutes later. Do they go back and take back the goal? Like, what do what would they do?
Dang, that's hilarious.
But the reason is because he's new to Canada. He doesn't speak English.
Oh, okay.
And so he didn't understand what was going on. He thought somebody else got the penalty. And so he just went to the bench. He's like, well, because somebody else went to the penalty box.
Okay, yeah,
Because he gets kicked out, somebody else serves a penalty.
Yeah.
So
he wasn't just being defiant or anything.
No, he's just entirely clueless. But
That's
I've never seen that in the NHL.
I love that.
Yeah.
Rumble strips incoming. Okay, so that's actually hilarious. Now we know what happens if a player doesn't serve their misconduct and just keeps playing.
Yeah.
The refs were probably like, wait a minute. He didn't. That's an option.
Yeah.
Never seen this.
This is NHL hockey, guys.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. What do we got up next on the list you got there?
So we've talked about fantasy hockey before on the show. This is our last bit of news before we go
into playoffs.
Into playoff stuff. The LA Kings, you're wearing their jersey.
I sure am.
They screw me over.
Yep.
In my fantasy hockey.
Okay, do tell.
So bad. I'm in 4 different leagues. You're in 2 of them with me.
Yeah.
I was in each league going to the last week. Playoffs are over for fantasy hockey now. I was in the finals for championship game in 2 weeks. I was in the bronze medal game for 1, and then I was in a nothing toilet bowl game in 1.
Yeah.
The toilet bowl game and the 3rd place game were both against you. I don't even know if you noticed.
I didn't set my lineup now.
Yeah, so I beat you. No, that's not true. You beat me in the toilet bowl one.
Seriously?
Yeah. That was our league where I had the million injuries, though. And then my goalies were butt.
Yeah.
So I just didn't have players. So that's why you beat me in that one.
Excuses.
I beat you in the 3rd place game.
Okay.
Anyways, I won one of my championships.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
Against another one of our friends. But the other one, and this is one like we play for we have an actual trophy and everything that we get engraved, and it moves from house to house. So it actually means something. Nice. It's not just like, hey, I'm a champion.
Woohoo.
Cool. I mean, ultimately it's just fantasy. But anyways, we're playing matchups. We're in this super, super tight race, and we're almost exactly tied. But the guy I was against was the 1st seed in the playoffs, and I was the last seed in the playoffs. So I was the underdog, and I was ahead by 1. We were almost tied, but he had a game's advantage. He was likely going to tie the matchup. Yeah. He was not going to be able to beat me, but he could tie it, and because he was the 1st seed, he'd win the tiebreaker.
Because this was a head-to-head.
Yes, this is a head-to-head.
Okay.
And so he'd win the tiebreaker, and so. Yeah. Now, I had goalies playing. Yeah. And the one thing, and it's always such an advantage, the one stat none of us had was a shutout. Right. And it's if I could get a shutout,
you'd win.
I would win. Because he only had 1 more goalie game, and it was not a great goalie, was not likely he was going to get a shutout. So I'm I should win easy, locked up if I get a shutout. My goalie playing that day was Darcy Kemper with the LA Kings. Okay. He was playing against the Edmonton Oilers, my team. I've never cheered so hard against the Oilers because our spot was locked up anyway. It didn't matter.
Inconsequential for the Oilers, but very consequential for your fantasy
team. 10 minutes left in the 3rd period, I think it was. Yeah. I look. I'm sweet, 5-0 for the Kings. Yeah. Shutout on the way. I'm no way the Oilers score in the last 10 minutes. I know my team. If we're down and out that bad, we're done.
That's right.
And so I'm sweet. So I go to bed. Okay. I didn't go to sleep. I just checked my phone again in about 20 minutes. Or 10, 15 minutes, whatever. There's about 2 minutes left. I'm yes, still 5-0. So I text the guy, and he's oh man. And he's upset. And then this is the guy I'm playing against. And then I get a text about 30 seconds later. He's David Riddick. And I look. And the Kings switched Kemper and Riddick. They pulled Kemper and put in Riddick with about like 8 minutes left in the game or something, I think it was. Riddick faced 4 shots. Let me introduce you to a rule in the NHL.
Yeah.
If both goalies play in a game,
Yeah.
the team still gets the shutout.
Right.
Neither goalie gets is credited with a shutout.
Lovely.
The LA Kings,
Screwed you over.
they took away my shutout for playing David Riddick for about 8 minutes against the Oilers, who made 4 saves.
Was there
Now
ever-
you might be thinking concussion protocol, Kemper probably got hit, or maybe he was hurt, they're being cautious going into playoffs, whatever.
Yeah.
No. Kemper was totally fine, he wasn't sick, didn't need to go to the bathroom, nothing.
Wow.
They pulled him to rest him for playoffs. They took him out for the last 8 minutes of a game where he had a shutout running
That's brutal.
for precautionary reasons to get him ready for the playoffs. There is
Yikes.
no reported reason why they did it. No suspected injury, nothing. And they
Wow.
pulled him out of the game.
That's terrible.
And we ended up tying in my fantasy league, meaning he won the tiebreaker, meaning I lost the championship. And I am not impressed.
You know what? I almost feel bad for you.
Wow.
No, I do feel bad for you. That's actually really stupid.
Yeah, that's a dumb rule.
That's terrible.
Like, the shutout should go to either the goalie who started or the goalie who made the most saves.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah, that's hard to say. I feel like we could probably make a whole episode off debating that.
maybe.
Well, I'm so sorry for your loss.
So yeah, I am upset.
Yeah, I believe that. What do we got next?
Teams who missed the playoffs.
Yes, Calgary.
Yes, they did. We'll get to them. So the Devils made it,
Yep.
but there's some interesting things about the Devils making it. This kind of goes against what I just said, because we said we're going teams outside the playoffs.
Yep.
Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah.
We've made fun of him a fair share of
Oh,
times.
sure.
'Cause he was
the head coach of the Leafs.
Yeah, exactly. An interesting fact that I didn't know about him,
Okay.
in his coaching career, not just NHL, his coaching career, he has never missed the playoffs.
Oh,
Not once has he ever missed the playoffs.
good for him.
And so I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. They almost did this year. The Devils
Yeah.
almost blew it. But with that, this is the first time the Devils have made it to the playoffs. We've got some ESPN stats for the playoffs.
Oh, good. We love
The
those.
first time the Devils have made it to the playoffs without Philly, the Rangers, or the Islanders. They've never made it to the playoffs without one of those teams,
Interesting.
which really does affect their matchup game, because those are all divisional rivals.
Yeah.
And so those are teams that they likely would have played a lot of times. And
Yep.
so that their playoff is probably looking a little bit different than a lot of previous ones.
Now they're playing the Hurricanes. Spoiler.
Yeah. Buffalo missed
Shocker.
again.
Not shocked.
I think this is year 14.
Yep. Something like that.
What needs to change in Buffalo?
Everything.
All the things.
Sell the building, sell the owner.
Sell the owner.
Yep, sell them. I don't know. They have too many talented players that come through and are just absolutely very mediocre, I guess you could say, on that team.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think everything needs to change. The players obviously don't. Because it
That's
doesn't
true.
matter if they're good or bad. They perform the same.
No, the one thing that doesn't need to change is the players. And probably
Yeah.
the fans, because if you stuck around and you're that loyal, good on you. So
Yeah.
the fans and the players don't need to change.
Yeah. Since 2017,
Yep.
every team in the NHL has made the playoffs except for Buffalo and Detroit.
Lovely.
Yeah. And yeah, Buffalo, it's been actually 14 years, ranging further back than that.
Yeah, because the Red Wings made the playoffs probably not that long ago.
I'm guessing it was 2016. Since 2017,
Yeah.
it was both of them. I'm guessing 16 is the last time. The
That
Red
would make
Wings made it.
sense. Yeah, I remember
So
the
nine
playoffs.
years.
Number of times.
And Tyler Myers.
Yeah, big guy.
Yeah, used to play for the Sabres.
Yep.
He is the only active player in the NHL who has played a playoff game for Buffalo.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious.
And that shocked me. I'm like, all of them have retired. Ooh, the camera moved.
Yeah. Everyone else is retired.
Yeah,
Crazy.
retired or gone to the KHL or something. No one else is left.
Nice.
Yeah, and he doesn't play for the Sabres anymore.
Every time
so.
it hits a bump, it's going to shift.
That's
That's unfortunate. Oh well, let's keep talking.
Yep. Your Flames. Talk
Sad.
about your Flames.
The Calgary Flames play in the Scotiabank Sad Dome. There's a picture of the Saddle Dome with the middle letters blacked out like the lights at night, and it just says sad dome.
Is it edited or was it
No, that was
actually?
real.
Oh, yeah.
And it surfaces all the time.
I
The
haven't
sad
seen
dome.
it. That's funny.
Yeah. But no, I was watching and so hopeful, but also realistic. So you can adjust the camera now because we don't have too many more bumps. It looks like that was just a rough bit of road. I was very sad that we didn't make the playoffs. Did I think we were going to make a deep run in the playoffs? Absolutely not. Did I want to?
You would have been out first round anyway.
Oh, sure.
Almost certainly.
Did I want to see more hockey and see the Flames make the playoffs because of Dustin Wolf?
I was gonna say that would have locked. It should have locked Dustin Wolf for the Calder.
Yeah, I absolutely wanted to see that. But oh well, such is life.
Like you guys got close. You tied.
Yeah, we tried.
You're tied with the Blues, who are in the playoffs against the Jets right now.
That's right.
And you just lost the tiebreak. So one game goes to overtime that you lost in regulation, or the Blues lose one game. Like it's literally that close.
Yeah.
Like you were that close to the playoffs.
Well,
really
fun.
makes you think of like back into like the third game of the season or whatever. Just like, man, was there that one game where it's like we kind of gave up? It's like,
sorry.
it's the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
The beginning of the season doesn't matter. It proves the beginning of the season matters just as much as the end of the season.
100%.
It's like you push one of those to overtime, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So honestly, a little, quite a lot. Did I cut you out of the frame?
Nope, not entirely.
Okay. Quite disappointing, but such is life.
Yeah.
I believe the Flames set the record for most points
You
scored.
tied it.
We tied the record for
Yeah.
most points scored by a team that didn't make the playoffs.
Yep. With
Let that sink
96.
in. 96
With
points.
almost 100 points. 100 points is like you're like top 10 in the league
Yeah.
almost.
So you
And it's
could
like-
make the case that the Flames are tied for the best team to never make the playoffs.
Yep. Yep. Well, you're probably not the best team. You have the best goalie to never make the playoffs.
That's factual information right there.
But I think you're actually higher in the standings than two playoff teams. I think you're higher
Yeah.
than the Devils,
Yep.
and you're higher than what's the other wildcard team in the East?
Oh, the is it not the
have-
Senators?
Yeah. No, Senators I think are third because they're against.
Oh,
the-
did they?
No, you're right.
Okay.
So, and maybe it's the Senators, or maybe it can't be a Western team, so it has to be the Senators. If you're ahead of two, you're ahead of the Senators and the Devils. You're for sure ahead of the Devils. So you're 14th or 15th in the league.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Right in the middle of the pack. Wow, that smells terrible.
yeah, it really, really does.
Oh, I bet you were coming up on the mushroom plant.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So yeah.
Not those kind of mushrooms, but like just the kind that you put on your pizza.
Yeah.
We keep it PG here at the Dump and Chase podcast.
So yeah, I was rooting for the Flames to get in. I wanted
Yeah.
to see it. I wanted to see Wolf in the playoffs,
It'd have been fun.
and I wanted to see the Flames get absolutely torn apart by the Jets. So
Yeah, that would have happened too.
you would have been dismantled piece by piece.
But you know what? If we had just made the playoffs, that would have been the victory. I don't care if we got swept. It would have just been enjoyable to see that we made the playoffs.
The Jets would have been the worst possible team for you to play because they're the only team who has the same strength as you guys have,
Goalie.
and it's better.
Yeah. Kemper. Sorry, why
Yeah.
did I say Kemper?
No, Doc Kemper.
Hellebuck.
Yeah.
As soon as that slipped my mouth, I said to myself, why did I say that?
Like
Anyway.
the Flames would lose offense and defense against every other playoff team.
Yep.
But goaltending, they could beat most of them, except for the Jets
Except
and
for the
maybe
Jets.
the Kings right now this year.
Now maybe.
Kemper has the third best in all the stats for goalies.
Yeah,
So,
could be.
yeah. Anyway, the Columbus Blue Jackets,
Yes,
they gave it the good old college try.
they did. They tried
also
to do
were
it for
only
Johnny.
like one or two. I think they might have only been 1 point away. I can't remember how their last
They were
game went.
close.
But the Canadians pulled it off, which I also like the Canadians. So I was very conflicted because I wanted both teams in.
Yeah.
I would have rathered that one other team missed, but I didn't want Senators to miss. And I was like, man, good thing I didn't have to make this decision.
Yep.
Yeah. But they gave it the good old college try,
They did.
and they did a good job with the team they have. They don't have that good a team.
They don't.
They called up Jet Greaves, the goalie from the minors, who went like 4-0-0 and 2 shutouts in their last 4 games of four of their last 5 games of the season.
No.
And it's like, man, you should have called him up earlier, guys.
I would say so.
But it's like, that's kind of crazy. It's
Yeah,
like,
you
they
don't
really
expect
put
that.
on the Jets at the end.
They did. because they were quite a ways out, and then all of a sudden, wow, look, they're here to play, and then they just fell short.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yep. And
Next
original
season.
6 teams. The Blue Jackets are not an original 6 team.
No, you're right.
Very, very not. But some more ESPN stats about original 6 teams, and we'll move into predictions and playoffs. This is the first time in history
Yep.
that the Rangers, the Penguins, who
The
are not an
Bruins.
original 6 team, and the Bruins missed the playoffs in the same year.
Yep.
Rangers, Penguins, Bruins, first time ever all 3 teams have missed.
Crazy.
Since all 3 were in the league. Like I said, obviously the Penguins are not an original 6 team.
Yeah.
So that's a bit different. Now, it's also the first time that all American original 6 teams have missed the playoffs in the same year.
Yes, they all missed.
Rangers, Boston, Detroit, and Chicago all missed.
The Blackhawks were so close this year. They almost made the play. Just kidding. They were nowhere near.
And yeah, first time they've all missed. The Canadians and the Leafs obviously made it. The Canadians barely. So we could have seen 5 of 6. Had Columbus made it, we would have seen 5 of 6 original 6 teams miss the playoffs this year.
Wow.
Which would have been crazy.
Yeah, that would have been.
Probably the first time in history that would have happened too.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
That's not often that all those teams miss.
Yeah.
Especially Boston.
Yeah. Well, even Chicago. They've only been bad. They've been bad for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But they were good all of our growing up years.
They were.
And so
Taves, Kane, the whole bunch.
yeah, Detroit's missed a lot in recent years, but the Rangers haven't missed a ton either. But yeah, you're right. Boston is definitely the most playoff prolific of that group, at least in our lifetime.
In our lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with the Rangers, last year they won the President's Trophy and made the conference final.
And now they missed.
And now they missed the playoffs the next season. And not only that, this is a stat that I didn't know about until yesterday.
Yeah.
They had no 2+ goal comebacks all season.
Really?
And like not even just like losing by 2 in the third, going into the third or anything like that. They didn't come back from a 2 or more goal deficit all year.
Wow.
At any point. So if they were down by 2, they lost.
Well, if you knew that if you were up by 2 against them, you'd just be like, well, we won.
Yeah, just leave.
Just pack it up.
Yeah, they won't score.
That's right. Crazy.
Yeah. So poor Igor Shesterkin,
Poor Shesterkin.
though he didn't play great this year either. But
No, that's true. He is definitely not in any Vezina talks, we'll put it that way.
no. Chris Kreider with like the biggest drop off in the league too. Went from he had like 70 points and like 39 or 40 goals last year,
Yeah.
and had finished this year with like 30 points total and like 14 goals or something like that. It was like really bad.
That's not a good look for him.
Yeah.
He'll probably bounce back, though.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Rangers probably will too. This
Well,
seemed
yeah,
like
they
a
fired their
fluke
coach,
year.
too, because remember,
Yeah.
he gave up on the season?
Yeah. No, that was
It was. It was the Rangers coach.
that gave up on the season.
Yep. He said that they were still within striking distance of the playoffs, and he said that he doesn't care anymore, basically.
No.
We said that
I think-
in one of our episodes that's
Did
still
we?
in the queue, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Laviolette. Yes.
Mhm.
And shocker, he got fired.
Yeah, he did.
And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, well, I know who's getting fired
Yeah.
next. It's him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Are we stopping for a break with this, or does the camera just keep on?
we will.
moving?
We'll cut the camera. We'll go for a little break here, and then we'll get into round 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. All right, welcome back from the break. We are ready for round 1 preview.
Part 2.
Not really preview, but
Predictions, more like. Let's
ra-
put a little bit of a preview.
round 1 overview, shall
Yeah,
we say?
yeah, there we
Plus
go.
predictions.
Yeah.
Let's get into our first matchup.
We're about 3 or 4 days into the first round.
We are. No
Um,
more than 2 games have been played in one series.
Yeah. At least for me, my predictions I'm gonna make are the ones that I made at the beginning of the playoffs.
Same.
So
Mine haven't
there's
changed.
1 or 2 of these that I might change now that I know the outcomes of some of the games. But I'm going to say my predictions that I made at the beginning.
Yeah.
To keep it authentic. This is an amazing first round, by the
It
way.
is. I'm really loving the matchups.
This is one of the best ones we've had in a while. I don't love the way the playoff format is. I do think we should probably go back to the 1 versus 8 system, conferences.
Yep.
But it turned out well this year.
Yeah. I'm happy with the matchups we got. They're all very entertaining, I would say.
Yeah,
None of them are snoozer matchups.
yeah. There's one argument we could make for that other format. We'll get to that. First series, Devils versus Canes. I'm going to say I have some like overview tidbits to say. I'll mention those, and then we can talk about the series.
Okay.
Devils versus Canes. I only have one thing. Big factor for this series is going to be the Devils' injuries. They came into the playoffs with a lot of injuries. Markstrom's back and Hamilton is back, which neither of those were guaranteed when those injuries happened. Jack Hughes is out for the playoffs.
Yes, he is.
In game 1, Luke Hughes got hurt.
Yep.
And he didn't play game 2. And so did Cody Glass.
I was going to say, it was Cody Glass also got hurt.
Now you might ask, how did Cody Glass get hurt?
I saw this.
Well, Jacob Markstrom, his own goalie,
Yep.
wound up and just chopped him across the wrist.
Yep.
Now, it was accidental. He was aiming at the Hurricanes player who was standing in the crease.
Yeah.
But he obviously missed, and Tanner Glass was skating through.
Glass.
Sorry, Connor Glass.
Cody Glass.
Yep, that one.
You're welcome.
Cody Glass came through and just took the stick right. It was across the wrist or the thigh or something.
He just dropped like a sack of hammers.
Yeah, didn't return to the game.
No.
Yeah. So, and they lost Hughes on the exact same play. It was same game, same play that Hughes got. And neither of them played game 2.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Injuries are going to be a huge factor in that series.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the series, Devils Canes?
Well, I actually think that we should probably cut the camera and just check that the sound check worked, or the sound for the last episode, or for the last half.
Oh, okay.
I actually realized we should check that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that brief interruption. We just wanted to make sure that the audio was still a 100 for you guys.
Yep.
So we were talking about Cody Tanner, Connor Glass.
Yes.
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 And how we had 2 Devils go down on the same play, and how Devils' injuries are going to be, in my opinion, what loses them this series quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is going to be the most lopsided series of the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the
the
entire
Devils
playoffs.
are the worst team in the playoffs.
Yeah, and so with all the injuries, I don't think they stand much of a chance. Maybe we see it go to 5.
Yeah. That's exactly what I have. I have Canes in 5.
Canes in 5, honestly.
I like the Canes goalies. They've struggled at points this year. Anderson and Kochetkov.
Yep.
But those are 2 starting goalies.
Absolutely.
Anderson, when he is healthy, is a top 10 for sure goalie in this league.
Both of them could easily compete with Stuart Skinner for the starting job in Edmonton.
Yeah, well, I would say both of them would be the starting goalie in Edmonton. I don't think it would even be a competition.
Yeah, there you go.
And Kochetkov has had hard moments. He's struggled at the end of the season especially. But he's a good goalie.
Yeah.
Not like top goalie in the league, but he's good. And the Canes are a really good team. I really like the Canes team. They got worse with the way they handled the Rantanen situation this year.
For this year, they got worse, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like their team. So
yeah, I think that the Canes will handily win this series.
Yeah.
What's the next series?
Caps Habs.
Caps Habs.
Yep, I really like this one.
I do too.
I don't actually have. The Habs have been fighting for their life for 3 months.
Yeah.
They've had to work to get the playoffs. The Capitals have been in the playoffs basically as a lock for the last 3 months.
Yes.
That's my little tidbit. What are your thoughts about this series?
I think that if they can keep riding the high, the Ovechkin high, I think that they can win this series against Montreal quite easily.
Really?
I do.
That would be the popular opinion.
However,
I mean, Caps are second in the NHL.
There's a very good reason to believe that that won't happen, I think.
Yeah.
And I think they've coasted into this. They got the record. They're happy. And then all of a sudden, whoops, we got beat by the Habs.
Yeah.
So I think this series could very well go to, very well go to 7.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to make it that far.
No, you don't?
And I think the Habs are going to win.
You think so?
Again, this is my prediction before Game 1.
Sure.
The Caps did win Game 1. And Ovechkin
scored
2, including the overtime winner. His first career overtime winner, by the way, in the playoffs. Yeah. Which is kind of crazy. Yeah. He has like 70 career NHL playoff goals.
And that's the first overtime winner?
Anyways, I think the Caps are total frauds.
I can see where you come from.
I don't think they're a good team. I didn't think at the beginning of the year, I didn't think they were better than last year. No. And last year they were the worst team in the playoffs. They were the Devils last year. Yep. And I didn't think they really got better.
No, they didn't. They're just running off of vibes right now, which is why I think they might be able to win one round.
Except I feel like the vibes are going to wear off.
And that's the X factor here in this series.
Yeah, are the vibes.
The vibes.
Are the vibes going to wear off?
That's the X factor. And if they do, Montreal wins this quite easily.
Yeah. And so I have Habs in 6. These are my bracket predictions on the NHL Bracket Challenge. I have Habs in 6.
I think I took the Caps in 7.
Okay.
On the Bracket Challenge.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
we'll see what happens there.
And I also just want the Habs to make it, because if the Leafs were to make it to the conference final, a Canadiens-Leafs conference final would be legendary.
That would burn cities.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Who would lose that series? Canada.
Yeah.
As a whole.
We'd also win it, though. We would be the winners and the losers of that series. But last 2021, the Habs made the finals as a complete underdog that was not even supposed to be there.
That was the weird COVID year, though.
Yeah.
With the divisional restructure, so.
Yeah.
Asterisks on that one, but yes, they did make the final, so you can't take that away from them.
Yeah. Because everybody had the same handicaps, so
everyone had the same chance.
They still beat everybody else.
Yeah. So, next matchup.
Tampa Panthers.
The Florida.
The Battle of Florida, also known as the first round Eastern Conference Final.
Yep. Basically.
We get to see the Rat Line.
Yes, we do. Matthew Tkachuk has returned.
I don't know if they're all playing together, but game 1 was yesterday. Panthers won 6-2.
Yes, they did.
That's not what I was expecting.
No.
Tkachuk did score 2 goals.
So Tkachuk is the X factor in this series. The fact that he came back.
Yeah.
So,
and Ekblad, I think, is coming back from his suspension in game 2. 2 or 3, I can't remember which.
The team that finished the regular season is not the same team that starts the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I think that if it were the same team that ended the regular season, I say like Bolts in 5. Like, it's not close.
Yeah, the Panthers didn't finish great at the end of the season.
But they now have Matthew Tkachuk back. They are going to get Ekblad back.
Yeah.
And
I feel like there's one other injury in there.
Yes, there is.
I can't remember. I know Bennett was dealing with something. He was playing through it. He was dealing with something. And I think that one of their young guys, Samasevich, I think was dealing with something as well.
Speaking of dealing with something, did you see that Rasmus Anderson played like the last 12 games of the season with a broken fibula?
Yeah. And then I saw his interview and he's just grinning.
Yeah.
As he's telling you, yep.
Yeah, broken leg. Good playoff push. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, impressive though.
And
reminds me of Erik Karlsson with the Sens in 2017 when they made the conference final against the Penguins.
Yep.
He played the entire playoffs on a broken foot.
Yep.
And was the best player in the playoffs.
And I feel like after every round of the playoffs, we're going to disclose all of the injuries that come out about, so-and-so was playing with, a broken wrist.
Yeah.
So-and-so, and I don't know if you actually can, but so-and-so was playing with a broken face. So-and-so was playing with a dislocated, whatever.
This person had a snapped femur.
Yeah, seriously. Basically. That's kind of what it feels like sometimes. Yep. Okay, what do you think is going to happen in this series?
Tampa Panthers, I have Bolts in 7. That's why I'm wearing their jersey.
Okay.
Woo!
Yeah, I should have realized that.
Yeah. What jersey do you have on, by the way? You can't really see it in the camera.
I have the anti-Edmonton Oilers jersey. I mean the LA Kings jersey on.
Yep, he's got the Stadium Series Kings jersey.
That's right.
Sorry
about the seatbelt. Safety first
or
here.
something.
And so I think that we're going to see in this series, we're going to see a lot of hard-fought games. I think that Vasilevsky, if he plays really well, if he plays even like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, I think that's enough for them to win the series in 6 or 7.
Yeah, I really like the Bolts team. They were on the verge of missing the playoffs.
They were.
Halfway through the year.
They shaped up.
Yeah.
A lot.
And Gensel has been huge. Brandon Hagel had like 90 points.
He was there, and then they also brought in Gord and Bjorkstrand,
which was an incredible trade. That you still got Hedman on the point, and you still got Braden Point.
Mm-hmm. Kucherov, casually.
Yeah, just casual Art Ross winner in there.
Yep.
So it's like, no, they're still a good team.
So as long as their goaltending holds together, which I don't see why he wouldn't, and as long as everything just kind of keeps going for them, they win in 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Now, we might be underestimating the value of having Ekblad and Tkachuk come back.
Yeah, and that Rat Line, I think that's the X factor for this.
Yeah.
If those three players, whether they're playing together or not, Marchand, Bennett, and Tkachuk, if you don't know who we're talking about, for the Panthers, those three could win the series by themselves.
Yep.
Because goaltending-wise, Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, if they're both on, they're identical.
Yes.
They're both unbeatable. And so
would agree.
goaltending-wise, they're the same. I'd say even defense-wise, teams are very similar.
Yeah.
It's offense-wise. Tampa's more offensive than Florida is. But Florida can wear them down with those three players.
You'd be right. I would agree.
And so that's why I have Tampa in 7, is because they're more offensive. But those three could change that.
I think they can. So
now, I think as a result, even if Tampa wins this series, I don't think they make it out of round 2.
No.
Regardless of who they play. That being, it'll either be the Leafs or the Senators. We'll get to that. I don't think they make it out of round 2. Because they are going to be beaten and bruised from Florida.
Oh, they will be, definitely.
And so I don't think, and I don't think they'll be able to. Either they're going to be playing the Senators, who are going to be on a major high beating the Leafs, or they're going to be playing the Leafs, who are going to be on a roll, being like, this is our year, and it might actually be.
Well, yeah.
And so I don't think they stand a chance in round 2.
No. I think that we don't see them do what they've done in the past. But that's okay. They've had their time.
Yeah. So yeah, Bolts in 7. Who do you have? You didn't actually make your prediction.
I'm going to say Bolts in 6.
Okay.
I'll take Bolts in 6.
No. Now the Bolts are down 1-0 as we speak right now.
That's true. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Leafs Sens.
Leafs Sens.
Battle of Ontario.
This is my-
Go Sens. Woo!
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Go Sens. This is the most interesting round for me to watch because of the Leafs.
Yeah.
And as a professional Leafs hater, I want nothing more than the Senators to win.
Yeah.
Do I think that they're going to win? I don't know.
I thought so at the beginning of the series. I'll just say my prediction now. I had Sens in 7.
Yeah.
That's what I have. Now, the Sens are currently down 2-0 because they lost in overtime yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate. They pushed overtime. They came back from 2 down. They tied it 2-2.
Yeah.
Then lost in overtime, which is unfortunate. So obviously they still could win very easily. It's happened lots for teams to give up 2, and the Leafs won their 2 home games. And
that
so
guy
the Sens
just flew a stop sign probably at about 40 kilometers an hour.
Shame on him.
Now you know.
So yeah. It's very possible, but I'm less confident.
Yeah.
The Leafs finally have goalies. That's the X factor for this.
The
Leafs in
have
our
goalies.
lifetime, we haven't seen the Leafs have good goalies in the playoffs. Freddie Anderson was a good goalie when he was there, but he was hurt all the time.
Yeah.
But for the first time in franchise history, they have 2 goalies with over 20 wins, with 20 plus wins, with Stolarz and Woll.
Yeah.
And Stolarz led the league in, I said plus minus here. Goalies don't have plus minus.
I didn't even catch you on that.
Stolarz leads the league in save percentage, not plus minus.
Hey, that cop at the beginning of the episode has someone pulled over.
And it's not us.
It's not us.
Good job.
Thank you.
So yeah, they have the NHL leader in save percentage. And it's not like he didn't play any games. He earned that.
Yeah,
And so-
absolutely.
and he closed out the season massive to earn it. He also got like 2 shutouts in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
The big, we keep saying the X factor. I think every series has an X factor, and this one is the Maple Leafs goaltending.
yeah, and the Senators penalty trouble. They lost game 1 because they took like 6 penalties or something like that, and the Leafs scored on like 4 of them.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that this one, am I allowed to do this? My prediction is, I don't know, in 7. I think it'll come down to game 7, and we don't know what'll happen.
Yeah. Now here's
At least
this.
I don't know what'll happen.
If the Sens win, which would be amazing,
Yeah.
and if the Panthers win, which is very possible,
Yeah.
we see Tkachuk versus Tkachuk in
Oh,
round 2.
we get a Tkachuk round.
That
Oh,
is
that would make
something
me
that
happy.
everybody who isn't a Leafs fan should be cheering for. Leafs fans are obviously going to cheer for the Leafs, and they should.
Well, and the Lightning fan won't be cheering for that either.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
But
Yeah.
hockey fans are cheering for a Tkachuk round.
And what happens in a Tkachuk round?
They don't fight. I'll tell you that.
No, but they aren't going to like each other.
No.
They can't.
They can't.
Both their games are to like annoy and beat up and pester the other team's best players.
Yeah.
And they are the other team's best players.
Yeah.
And so they can't ignore each other. And what do you do if you're a parent One
say,
show up in a Panthers jersey, one show up in a Sens jersey, and say go whoever wins?
Nah, I'd say just both show up with St. Louis Keith Tkachuk jerseys on. Just play it neutral and just wear Keith Tkachuk jerseys.
Don't show up to the games. Just go to the Jets Blues games instead.
Oh yeah, there you go. Or just wear customized shirts, T-shirts that just say "Go Sports."
Yep.
Go local sports team.
Yeah.
And call it at that.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting, and I hope we don't get robbed of seeing that.
Yeah, me too. It's probably not likely. The Leafs obviously are the favorites to win this series.
Sure.
And they should be. They're first in the division.
Yeah.
And the Sens are an underdog team. But I think the Sens have a shot.
Yeah.
Especially with them coming back in game 2. It's like, okay, they aren't going to get blown out every game. So.
Yeah. I think that we would love to have the Leafs lose. However, their goaltending will be, if their goaltending is on, it's on. And then also that means, and if Marner, Matthews, and Nylander just do their regular thing.
Which they have been so far.
Which they have been. I mean, it's looking likely for the Leafs.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're going to force me to pick a team, I'll say Leafs in 7, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that hurt?
Yep, it does. Pains my soul.
The Sens were the only team in the East I was going to have beating the Leafs.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think the Leafs would have beat everybody else. Even the Panthers and the Lightning in round 1.
Yeah.
I think the Sens are actually the only team that could have beat them in round 1. In round 1. Round 2, that's different because now we're into the playoffs. There's injuries and all that. But round 1, I think the Sens actually had the best chance of beating the Leafs. Probably a steaming hot take, but
I think so.
Okay, next series.
Yep.
Moving into the Western Conference. Speaking of brothers, Jets versus Blues. Battle of the Shens.
Battle of the Shens.
And so this is the one we are getting right now. Currently, Luke is destroying Braden.
Yep.
2-0 Jets at the moment. We get a Four Nations final goalie rematch. Binnington versus Hellebuck.
Ah.
And also, these two teams, Binnington and Hellebuck, played each other in 2019 as well in second round of conference final. And the Blues won that one. That's when the Blues won the cup.
Yeah.
And so that was also a Binnington-Hellebuck matchup. So these two goalies seen a lot of each other.
They have. And not that that really matters, because they don't actually, unless they fight, they don't come in contact with each other. But yes.
And Hellebuck would never fight. Binnington did.
Binnington would.
In game 1, I watched game 1, and Binnington did go up to the blue line during a scrum in the last 20 seconds.
Really?
And they interviewed Hellebuck afterwards, and he laughed out loud. He's like, seriously, a goalie fight in the playoffs? Why didn't I do that? Because it would be dumb.
Yes, it would be.
It would be stupid.
It would be cinema, but it would be stupid.
He's like, I'm not fighting another goalie in the playoffs. That's from Hellebuck's mouth. And he just laughed out loud, which I thought was amazing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't think the Blues stand much of a chance at all in this.
No.
I think that the Jets they're on right now, and the Blues, they fought for their playoff lives, and good on them for making it, but this is where we bid them adieu.
Yeah, I think the Jets sweep the Blues. This is my only first round sweep.
Yeah?
I think it'll actually be the only sweep of the playoffs.
Okay. My prediction was Jets in 5.
Yeah, I've got Jets in 4. I think the Blues...
I think Binnington could probably steal them a win.
They came down from their high. They were on a high with their 12-game winning streak, but they lost that before the playoffs, like a week or two before, and then lost a couple in there, so it kind of brought them back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Binnington's playing great. He is.
Yeah.
Like, both games have been close. Game 1 didn't look close, but there were 2 empty net goals.
Yeah.
And there was lots of stuff happening in the last 2 minutes.
That's why I think that Binnington can probably steal them at least one win, and it'll be Jets in 5.
Yeah. So, but the Battle of the Shens will be a lot less eventful than a possible Battle of the Tkachuks.
Yep.
Yeah. Though,
it'd be like the Battle of the Tkachuks from Wish.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Oilers Kings.
Oilers Kings. Well, I'm wearing the jersey.
Yes, you are.
And I have good reason for saying this, but I'm going to go Kings in 7.
Okay. This is the 4th time in a row the two teams play each other in the first round.
Yep.
Ties an NHL record.
Okay.
Jeff Skinner is playing his first NHL playoff game.
Yeah.
Has played it now.
Miracles never cease.
Yeah, 1,075 games played in the NHL before getting his first NHL game. He
finally gets to see the postseason.
Finally gets to see it. It's NHL record. Now that he's made it, The NHL leader for most games without a playoff is Rasmus Ristolainen,
Yeah.
who has played about 700 games. Only 350 games behind.
That's still quite a bit shy.
And Ristolainen has played for the Sabres and the Flyers, so it makes sense.
Yeah, you're not going to make the playoffs there.
Yeah.
That's very, very happy for Jeff Skinner. Good for him.
Yeah.
Finally made the playoffs. However, I don't think he'll get much playoff action.
No.
I think this is it. Unfortunately for Edmonton.
I was going to say, unfortunately, you don't
Unfortunately,
care.
no, I don't. Unfortunately for Edmonton, they are currently, like the Devils, hit with injuries.
Not as bad as we were 2 weeks ago.
That's true.
But
However, you're still down at home.
yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, massive.
You're down.
And
Matthias
we're down
Ekholm.
at home for the series.
Yeah.
Kane, we should get back game 2. Klingberg, we might. Whether that's an advantage or not is up in the air. But we might get him back. And who knows who's still battling an injury. I don't know if the other guys are all recovered or not. At one point,
Like,
we
what's
had
McDavid at? Percentage-wise of health, like, do you think?
Do I think? I think he's actually pretty close. I think he's playing a lot of the regular season hurt. I think
Probably.
that's what he missed basically the last 2.5 weeks of the season, and I think the last week and a half of that was entirely precautionary.
Yeah.
And so he played like one game to get to 100 points so that he could get his 100th point. But
Yeah.
and so I think that he's probably 80%.
Okay.
I mean, I watched game 1. If he's at 80%, it's a pretty good 80%. He put the team on his back in game 1.
Yeah.
He played possibly the best game I've ever seen McDavid play.
Well, I mean, they came back from a 4-0 deficit.
Yeah, I was going to say, game 1 was a gong show.
They choked, then they came back
And then
from
choked.
the dead, and then choked again.
Well, I wouldn't even say we choked
Did I
at
say
the
from
end.
the dead or from the dead?
I don't know.
Well,
came back from the dead.
I think I may have said that.
Yeah.
Came back from the dead, anyway.
Yeah, we were down 4-0 right before the end of the second.
Yep.
Draisaitl scored 1 in like the last 14 seconds. So we went into the third 4-1. And then we came back.
I know plenty of people who shut the game off.
Yeah. And then like we came back and we scored 2 goals in the last 3 minutes, tied it 5-5. By the way, reffing, awful again. Hate it. So annoying. I'm getting sick and tired of the bad refs.
Yeah.
Anyways, like we got a penalty for delay of game that we challenged. There was physical video proof that the puck deflected off the glass.
Nice.
And we reviewed it, they looked at the video for 10 minutes and still gave us the penalty, and we had a penalty for the failed challenge. Very annoying.
Love that
The
for
linesman right in front of the puck said that was deflected. The linesman told the ref that, who was on the other side of the ice, who called the penalty, and that ref still called the penalty.
It's just making our sport look bad at this point.
Yeah, and so we had to kill a 5-on-3 as a result of that. We killed it and then scored 2 goals. So
impressive.
It ended and we tied the game. So it makes me less mad because we did it anyways. There were other bad calls, but whatever. I'll stop talking about the reffing. But yeah, then we tied the game, and then one of the Kings players wound up for a one-timer with 40 seconds left from the top of the circles. Banned on the puck, and it was like
It fluttered up in the air.
and then landed behind Skinner, and he's like, "Where'd that come from?" It was total fluke goal. I think it would have gone in on any NHL goal.
Of course.
Like it was.
Fluke goals, those happen.
We did what we could have done. Our defense were back. They were on their guys.
Yeah.
You could argue maybe one guy should have been back a bit quicker.
Did
but,
Bouchard actually play defense?
I can't remember if he was even on the ice for it or not.
Yeah.
Wallman was there. He was doing his job.
Oh, good.
But I expect that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
go ahead. My other reason for saying that the Oilers won't win this is Stuart Skinner. I think that their goaltending and injuries is enough to keep them out of the second round. I think that the amount of just pure offense in McDavid and Draisaitl isn't going to compensate for bad goaltending.
Especially because Darcy Kemper isn't going to let in 5 goals a game.
Exactly.
Darcy Kemper hasn't let in 5 goals a game on almost any occasion all season.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a fluke that we got that far in this game.
100%.
So he shut us out twice in the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Kemper did. We lost 3-0 and 5-0 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's not good. Now we're got the sun in our eyes.
Woo. So yeah, I actually think Skinner is going to be less of a problem. I think Bouchard is the problem.
Bouchard is a problem.
3 of their goals, he got 3 assists. He's amazing offensively. But 3 of their goals at least were directly his responsibility. And it was like all the goals the Kings scored, I wouldn't blame Skinner for any of them. I'd maybe say one he could have had. Like some of them are maybe ones like, hey, to have in the playoffs, you need to make some of those saves you shouldn't make.
Yeah.
But he did that in the third period. We killed 2 5-on-3s in the third. Well,
yeah.
No, one of them they did score on. He was sliding across, making cross crease one-timer saves.
Okay.
And in the third period, he was like he showed up in the third. But like Bouchard, their 5th goal, he was behind the net in a puck battle, and he just scooped the puck between his legs right in front of the net to a Kings player, and he just took the puck and shot it in the net. And it's like, that's not Skinner's fault. You expect the player to score in that situation.
Yeah.
With no pressure in the low slot.
As an NHLer, defenseman, you can't be doing that.
Yeah. And so, not just an NHL defenseman, the top defenseman on the team.
Man,
maybe Wallman gets more minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
But he's 20 plus minutes a game. Bouchard gets.
Yeah.
And so,
isn't it a real shame that you don't have another defenseman that got offer sheeted away?
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be really nice to have.
It would be, except Broberg made the same mistakes Bouchard did.
Well, okay.
He's also an offensive.
But he's made improvements this season.
Yes, he has. So yeah, my prediction is actually the Kings in 6.
Kings in 6.
Yeah, I don't think Edmonton's going to do it either. I would obviously, if we do, won't be upset if that prediction.
You'll be happy.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to do it. So listening to all the stats, looking at like the eye test, how we play, everything favors the Kings.
Yeah,
everything does. The only thing that doesn't is
top end offense.
And top end offense, except I even say that favors the Kings because they have the best defense and top 5 goaltending in the league.
No, I'm talking about just pure top end
just
offensive
comparing
talent.
the two. Yeah, we have better offense than they do.
You can't compete with McDavid and Draisaitl.
No, but they're the one team that could actually stop that.
They can stop it for sure.
And so,
sorry, I'm just comparing offense to offense.
Yes, but the history between the two teams in the past 3 years, that's the advantage the Oilers have.
That's true.
You could say there's a mind game advantage because we've beat them 3 years in a row in the playoffs, and
it might be psychological for them.
And we've done very well against them in the last 5-10 seasons. The regular.
Didn't you guys take it to 7 last series?
No, last season was only 5.
Oh. No, it was the Stars you went to 7.
We've gone 7, 6, 5. So the first time we played them, we beat them in 7. Okay. Second time was beat them in 6. Third time we beat them in 5. So we were like, Oilers sweep to keep the thing going. I was like,
except for that it didn't happen.
No.
Because game 1 went to the Kings.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so, yeah, I think the Oilers lose. We'll take 2. Like, we're not going to get swept.
No.
We shouldn't. But it'll be a series.
Yeah, it'll be entertaining.
But I don't think we win.
No.
So
what do we have next?
Wild versus the Knights.
Wild versus the Knights.
Fleury's return to Vegas in the playoffs. He became the all-time overtime win leader in the last game of the regular season.
Oh.
Gustafsson started it. They made it to overtime, and then Gustafsson went to the bench and told the coach that Fleury was playing overtime.
Okay.
And so Fleury played overtime because it was a tie game. When you switch the goalie in a tie game, the second goalie gets the win. And so, and then the Wild won in overtime, which
gave Fleury the win.
Gave Fleury the win, and also gave Fleury probably his last NHL game.
Yeah.
Because he probably won't play in the playoffs.
You love to see it.
So yeah, he broke an NHL record, played his last game, and I think it was at home too.
I think it was.
Because he's retired. That's another retiring player. He's retiring after this
Fleury.
Yeah, we've talked about that before.
We have.
Well. The Wilds are in the playoffs despite injuries.
Yeah.
Kaprizov missed 50% of the season. Joel Eriksson Ek, their top centerman, missed 44% of the season. And
those
a lot
two
of that was overlapping. Like
those two jerks are the reason the Flames didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. With Kaprizov in their lineup, the Wild were 24-13-3.
Yeah.
So they're the worst. They're the lowest wild. No, Blues were the lowest wild card in the West. So Wild are the top wild card. They're only like 1 point ahead of the Blues still. But the Wild were top 3 in the league in the first quarter of the season.
Yeah.
And then Kaprizov got hurt.
Yeah. I think that Vegas is very beatable.
Yeah, I agree. The Knights are the first team in the NHL, fun fact, with less than 200 penalties in a season.
Yeah, they're the least penalized team this season and by quite a bit.
And in history.
Yeah.
Yeah, least penalized team in history.
Oh, it was in history. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
First time ever a team has finished a season with less than 200 penalties, which is dumb.
That is dumb.
The way the refs have been reffing, that should not be happening.
No. What's your prediction for this one?
Wild. I think the Knights are very beatable.
Yep.
I think that with that stat, Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek, they're both back.
Yeah.
And I think that makes them major underdogs.
And the Wild
they're
still
the
have a lot of good
strongest
depth
wild
pieces.
card.
Yeah, they are.
And Gustafsson and Fleury are a solid goaltending tandem.
They are.
They have good defense. I think the Wild are good. I think Wild in 7.
And you know that Fleury's going to play his heart out given the chance to play.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got so yeah, Gustafsson's struggling. Put Fleury in. No goalie with better playoff experience in the league than Fleury.
That's true.
He's still good. And so yeah, Wild in 7. Wild, I don't. If they have made it past the first round in their history, it was a long time ago and only like once.
Yeah.
They have not had very much playoff success, and so it's time for them to break that, make it to the second round.
Yeah.
Wild in 7.
I'll say Wild in 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 6 to be different from you.
Yeah. I don't think they get past the second round.
Probably not.
I think maybe if Edmonton does beat the Kings, they might beat Edmonton. They won't beat the Kings.
No.
The Kings if the Kings move on, they will move to the conference final.
You think so?
Well, I mean, they would have. I think they beat Wild or the Knights. That's who they play. They would play the Wild or the Knights. I think they beat either.
Okay.
The Oilers are iffy against both those teams. I think we stand a better chance against the Wild and the Knights than we do against the Kings.
Yeah.
Like the Kings are a harder matchup for us than the Wild or the Knights, I think.
I can see that.
Just because of the goaltending.
Yeah.
And so Oilers have a chance, but yeah, the Wild will move to the second round, not further. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the Wild making a deep run, but I could see that. I'll see them getting past round 1.
Yeah. Last one in the West.
Yes.
Stars versus Avs, the Rantanen Bowl.
The Rantanen
Also
Bowl.
known as the other first round conference final.
I saw this when this matchup was confirmed. I thought, wow, what two really good teams going up against each other in the first round.
Yeah. And X factor for this, Landeskog is back. First games in 3 seasons.
Which is so wild to me that he could be out for that long.
Yeah. Hasn't played since the cut. His last game was the game where the Avs lifted the cup in 2022.
It was. That was his last NHL game.
Until game 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did. I didn't watch.
Neither did I. Neither do I, rather. But yeah, that's going to be a very interesting series. But if you guys know my predictions, I'm going with the Stars for the Cup. So I have to run with the Stars for this series.
This is the hardest. Both these teams, this is the hardest series they will play.
Yep. This could be the hardest series, even harder than the Stanley Cup final if they make it.
Here's the problem. This is the small problem with our playoff format.
What's that?
What we just talked about, the Wild, Knights, Oilers, Kings.
Yeah.
None of those teams are terrifying.
No.
They're all good. Like, all teams are good. The Oilers should have been the powerhouse in that group, but we're not this year.
No.
And it's like, all of those teams, whoever makes it to the conference final, could get there relatively easily.
Yeah.
Theoretically. You look at the top of the Western Conference, the Jets are going to beat the Blues. The Blues just ripped the Blues and Blues fans. They're in the wrong part of the conference.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, great. Stars, Avs, whoever wins, has to play the Jets in the next round.
Yeah.
Arguably the only team that would be harder.
It does seem a little weird that all those really good teams have to face each other.
Yeah.
And the bottom part of the bracket's just kind of mid.
It makes it great for whoever makes it out of the bottom part of the bracket.
Sure, yeah.
Because by the time they get to the conference final, it's like that team's going to be all beat up and bruised, and you have the best chance you could have at beating that team. Because it's going to be an incredible team. The Blues aren't coming out of that.
No.
And so even if they pull off a miracle versus the Jets, they aren't taking out the Stars or the Avs as well.
No.
And so, yeah. It's going to be beaten and bruised. Anyways.
Absolutely.
You're going Stars in 7, you said?
I didn't give a number, but I'll give it 7.
Okay. And I've mentioned this in previous episodes. I really do think that the Stars are overrated. I don't think they've meshed with it, Rantanen. I'm going Avs in 6.
You don't think that
I don't think it's going 7. I watched game 1 too. 1 as well.
Yeah.
And it honestly was not as impressive a game as I wanted it to be.
That's fair.
It was disappointing. And it was like the Avs controlled the game. The Stars had moments that they controlled, but overall the Avs are the better team. And I just don't see how ultimately, Nathan MacKinnon. There's your reason right there.
Yeah.
Nathan MacKinnon. That's why the Avs will win.
I could see that.
Nathan MacKinnon. Because Rantanen, even if he shows up, is not as good as MacKinnon. Never will be. I think MacKinnon is the best player in the NHL.
Yeah.
And he is everything you need in a playoff performer. Nathan MacKinnon. And he's scored like 3 or 4 goals already in the series.
Yeah.
And
he is the X factor of that series.
Goaltending generally would be straight to the Stars with Ottinger, but Blackwood's been good.
Yeah.
And so it's still probably in the Stars' favor, but the Avs aren't slouching.
No. I'm going to say whoever...
and then, by the way, Cale Makar.
And Cale Makar. That's true.
So
whoever wins this series, in my opinion, makes it to the Stanley Cup final.
I think the Jets will beat whoever wins this series because I think
you do.
Because same reason as the Panthers Lightning. Whoever comes out of the series is going to be beaten and bruised.
I do think that.
And also, I think same reason you could still argue Avs win Nathan MacKinnon. That's why they beat the Jets.
Yeah.
And if they beat the Jets, yes, that will be why. But you could also say Connor Hellebuck.
Sure.
Who has always struggled in the playoffs, except for this year, he showed up.
Yeah.
He's showed up, at least in game 2. Game 1 was iffy at the start, but he pulled it back together. And game 2, he was great.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I think Jets will beat whoever wins this series, but I think it'll be Avs in 6.
That very well could be.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it to 7 and have to go with Dallas.
And Jets in the final. Go Jets.
I think that,
Jets win the cup.
that the Jets are...
Go Jets unless they play the Oilers.
The Jets are the typical favorite, and they're overrated, I think.
I think that's the Stars. I look at people's brackets, and the Jets are maybe in like 20% of them, 30%. The Avs are in way more Stanley Cup finals.
Okay.
Yeah, and more Cup champs. The Avs are in a lot. The Caps are in a lot. Yeah, it's the least I've seen, because the Jets won the President's Trophy.
Yep.
It's the least I've seen the President's Trophy winner be
put in the Stanley Cup
Cup
final for the bracket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if that's true. It's me personally, at least I've personally seen.
Yeah.
I don't know the stat on how many.
That would be an
have been
ESPN
chosen.
stat.
Yeah, they do sometimes get released, like
That's
the percent of people that chose each team. So
yeah.
That's our playoff predictions.
That's our playoff predictions. Now you've heard it here first. Well, probably not first, but first from us, you've heard it. What we think is going to happen round 1. We will see you when round 1 is over, is my guess, is how that's going to work.
Yeah.
And we will be doing a recap of round 1 and a preview of round 2.
Yeah.
I think is how we decided to do it. They're probably going to be pretty long episodes, but hey, if you're into it, you're into it. So I'm excited for that. And do we have a fun fact to round out the episode? Oh, Leaf slander. Did we? Are we slandering the Leafs?
I have a couple things.
Oh, good.
Yes, I do have a Leaf slander.
Oh, good.
And a couple fun facts.
Yes. Hit us with it.
I have a jersey thing for you first.
Okay.
What do you think the last used eligible number on a jersey was in the NHL?
What do you mean? Like the last time?
So right now, every number between 0 and 99 has been worn in the NHL.
Yes.
Which one was the last number to be used? Where it was like, this is the first player to ever wear this number. It was around like 2006, I think. That was worn. I don't know if you know this player or not. It's not like a superstar or anything.
Okay, now I'm going to say this number only because I know it hasn't been worn in a long time. Was it number 69?
No.
Okay, because I know that hasn't been worn in a long time.
I think somebody's actually wearing it right now.
Really?
I can't remember who, but I think somebody is. Yeah.
I know, I'm pretty sure Jeff Bukaboom used it.
Yes, I think he did. Yeah.
That's the only player I know.
There's somebody who used to play for the Stars who used to wear it.
The only reason I know that's because of Bar Down.
Yeah.
TSN Bar Down.
Yeah.
What is it? Probably going to be like...
Give you a hit. It's over 75.
I was going to say it's going to be like 78 or something.
Bit higher. Give you 3 more guesses. Higher than 78.
Okay. So it's going to be like 82.
Higher.
90... No, none of the 90s. They're all pretty heavily used. I'm going to say it's got to be 88.
Lower.
Wait, no, 88 is Vasilevsky. What am I saying?
So it's between...
88 is
well, this
Vasilevsky,
number
right?
has been worn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not actively.
I don't know if it's being worn right now or not.
Oh.
But it's just, this was the last number to be used. So the first person to use it was in the early 2000s. Don't know if somebody else is using it now.
That's what the question is.
Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood the question.
Yeah.
Oh, so this
88
number...
was also Eric Lindros. So.
Oh, yes, of course.
80. It's between 82 and 88. One more guess.
84.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. 84. Latondres. He used to play for the Canadians.
Okay.
I think he retired in like 2007 or something like that.
He was the first player to ever
He
use
was the first
84.
player to ever use number 84.
Cool.
Last number to be used.
I mean,
now
hey,
every single number has been used, 0 to 99.
If I'm going into the
including 0.
NHL and I see that a number's never been used, I think I'm going to be the first guy to do it.
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
would too. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. And just a fun fact, you sent this, so I can't really quiz you on it.
No.
But see if you remember. What's the most common name in the NHL?
Oh, Ryan.
Yes. Do you remember the top 5?
No.
Do you remember any of the other ones?
I remember that Connor wasn't on there.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I was
by that.
surprised Connor's not on there. It's like Ryan.
And these are current players. This isn't like in history or anything. This is current players. There's 26 Ryans in the NHL.
And isn't Jeff also up there?
No.
No? Oh.
There's a J. Jake.
It's Jake.
Jake is on there,
Okay.
which surprised me because Jake Gensel is the only one I can think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But there's 18 Jakes. There's all 18 Adams.
Okay.
And then there are 21 Michaels. They're in second. That one makes sense. And 17 Alexes.
17 Alexes.
Yeah. So
The one
there
that
you go.
comes to mind because of recency bias. Ovechkin.
Oh yes, I was actually thinking Alexander Nylander,
Okay.
like Williams' brother.
Yeah.
Who is irrelevant.
Or
I don't know
there's-
why that's the first Alex thing.
Galchenyuk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a number of Alexes. That's true.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good fun
Dude,
facts.
Yeah. Leaf slander.
Yes.
I
Make fun
mentioned
of
this
Leafs.
earlier. Connor McDavid
Yep.
scored his 800-point season in his career.
800th.
800-point season.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Did not score his 800th point. He's over 1,000.
Yeah.
So he has 800-point seasons in his career. This gives him one more 100-point season than all Maple Leafs in franchise history. Only 7 times have the Maple Leafs had a 100-point score.
Nice.
McDavid has more 100-point seasons than the Toronto Maple Leafs in over 100 years.
I don't love this Leaf slander
Because it's McDavid.
But at the same time, we're making fun of the Leafs, so it's all right.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it was the only Leaf slander I could find. So,
All right, you know what? We'll take it.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So,
good.
Yeah. Now, our fun fact for the
Yes.
episode to close it out. Nathan Horton. Do you remember that name?
Yes, I do.
He retired, I think, 2014, 2015,
I'm pretty
2016,
sure there's
somewhere in there.
I'm pretty sure no relation to Tim, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
He had left because of injury problems. He was
Yeah.
a LTIR dump.
Yeah.
But not one that came back. Not a
Right.
Vegas Golden Knights situation.
Right.
He scored a goal on April 9th, 2014
Yep.
without even playing in the game.
How?
That's what I said. I was like,
How?
this is clickbait. So I clicked on it.
Oh, wait. Is this like he scored in the game, but the game was postponed midway through? Yeah, the game was postponed midway through, and then so most of the game was played on a different day, but they still picked up where they left off, and most of the game was played on a different day, so it was considered a different day.
What game can you think of that was started and then postponed? We've talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, when
before.
what's his name died on the bench.
Yeah. Well, he did come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Rich Peverly.
Rich Peverly.
Rich Peverly had a heart attack or
Cardiac arrest or
cardiac
something.
arrest or stroke or something on
Some
the bench.
episode. It wasn't a stroke. It was somewhere his heart stopped.
Yeah, it was a significant medical emergency.
Yes.
They revived him on the bench and everything. He asked to come back into the game.
Yeah, as soon as he woke up, he asked what happened in the game, and he wanted to go back.
Yeah,
in
and
the
he
game.
was like, no.
Yeah, not allowed. Sorry.
So they postponed the game.
Yeah.
But they were already partway into the game, and so I think they were like through the first period.
Yeah.
Partway or something like
And
that.
Horton had scored.
Horton had already scored. It was 1-0. I think he was on the Blue Jackets at the time.
Yeah.
1-0 for Blue Jackets against the Stars.
The Stars.
They played the game a month later.
Yep.
Horton got hurt in that month,
And then
and so
didn't
was
play.
not able to play in that last game. But they kept that score on the board. They
Yeah.
resumed at the same time with the same score. So on the
Yes.
game sheet, Nathan Horton has the goal in a game he never played.
Yeah. I love
He
that.
was an ineligible player, but had a goal.
But had a goal.
Yeah. And
Now
so
you
I was
know.
like, no, that is very
Fantastic.
interesting. I
love
love those interesting fun facts.
Kind of
that
like
I see.
how Jake Allen got on the all rookie team twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff like that. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's
Perfect.
your fun fact.
There's our fun fact. Well, that rounds out the episode previewing. Not kind of previewing. I already said that once.
Overviewing.
Overviewing the first round of the playoffs and what we think is going to happen. And we will see you when the playoffs have reached the end of round 1. Now, go give us a follow over at Dump and Chase Pod on Instagram. We have stuff happening over there,
Yep.
hopefully.
Yep,
And
still a jersey giveaway on
that's
there.
right. Yeah, there's still a jersey giveaway over there. And yeah, if you want to have a chance to be featured in the episode, DM us and let us know what you want to see, what you don't, and we might be posting some stuff on our stories, some polls. We might actually shortly here after this episode goes live put up. I haven't talked to Ben about this. Maybe we'll put up a poll saying who you think's going to win each round of the playoffs. We'll have a poll.
That's a good one.
Just tap your vote. Who do you think's going to win? We'd be interested to see. So that rounds it out for us. Anything else to say?
I think that's it. Go Jets, go Oilers.
Go
Go Canada.
Go LA.
Imagine this. We could theoretically see, you probably don't want this for the Oilers' sake, but everything else you'd probably be interested in. We could see a Jets-Oilers Western Conference Final, Leafs-Habs Eastern Conference Final, guaranteed Canadian
That's right,
Cup. 4 Canadian teams.
We could guarantee a Canadian Cup before the Cup final ever happened.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
The Habs and the Oilers are both struggling right now, so not likely, but it could happen.
All things are possible.
The Leafs and Jets are realistic. The Oilers are realistic if they get their act together.
But
because we have an easier path. But I don't.
You made a mistake. You said the Leafs instead of the Senators.
Yes.
That's right.
You're right. Yeah, the
Senators.
Senators versus the Habs.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes,
That's
you're
right.
You're right.
Awesome. Well, we will see you guys in the next episode, and hopefully the Leafs will be eliminated from the playoffs by the time we talk to you guys next. So take care, everybody.
Yeah, see you.